or?
Not especially.
Okay.
An hour is okay for you?
Pardon?
An hour? An hour
Yeah,
exchange?
yeah. It would be more than enough, yeah. For example of. Yes. So I'm just talking to myself. I'm talking to ChatGPT. Hello again. We are live now.
Hello, hello.
So, yeah, well, this is Junia and myself again. It's the third time that we are meeting for a live stream on Zoom. In the last streams, we talked about various subjects that were that came from ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT about things that we could talk about in a podcast, and this is what we are going to do today. So give me a few seconds. I will ask ChatGPT what I could ask Junior now for this podcast. 5 example, 5 questions. Okay, so ChatGPT has suggested me 5 questions,
Okay.
and all these questions are related to corporate,
Corporate
corporate
world.
culture, corporate world.
Okay.
I think this is a good topic for us. We both can relate to that. We both have worked in corporate for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start with that one. Corporate culture. How does the corporate culture in an organization directly influence its success or failure? Should I repeat?
No, that's fine. How the corporate culture influence or in the right or wrong way is a company success. It depends because I think the sense of belonging is something that we all seek as an individual. So when you have a culture that is aligned with your own value, so this is why we can see so many company, put as a priority their core values. So once the core values are properly set up and the mission statement and the aim, that's the first approach in terms of the communication strategy, where you can create that sense of belonging with your employees. Now, the fact as well that we are in a worldwide world, the fact that we are communicating with the people worldwide, allow people to open their mind, their vision, which is as well benefit for the creativity of the business. Create as well those internal activities, sport and social culture. Create as well the sense of belonging, where we not only work together, but we are outside of work, create a community where we can interact, socialize more in a decontract way, which is a benefit. But then by pushing as well to the other hand could be as a negative side. The fact that we have always corporate culture, we are all together, it can be perceived as a bit of fake too, because the sense of individuality, no matter what, we are individual, gravitating around a community, yeah, other individuals. So the sense of belonging doesn't have to be diminished. in terms of talent, in terms of you popping up, or not popping up, but being brighter than others, you know. Sometimes you just need to assume and be okay with that. So yeah, that's the few advantage that I see so far. What about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking through this, and I'm actually just thinking, what is company culture? Can this really be implemented, or is this something that grows by itself? So should this culture be implemented from the top, or can this culture actually, or should also grow bottom up? What are your thoughts on that?
But give me an example of what you just said.
Well, the company itself usually defines some core values. So this is what you can read in their
Website,
guidelines,
yeah, guideline.
not policy, but you know what I basically mean. So this is something that they define, but there's also a big deviation between reality and what it's written on paper. And sometimes this is just only my this is only my view, that are these values just copy paste values because it sounds nice and welcoming, but it's not something really meaningful and deviates significantly
Okay.
from the actual culture.
Okay, I see.
This is what I mean. So, and what can the management, or what can the company really do to, yeah, to create a culture that is really close to their core values?
But I think to start with, you know, the company culture, it's originate from the person who has the vision, the founder. So based on that, you're going to create a leadership culture where you have people who can execute his vision. So you need to be aligned with people who have his leadership style. Then after you have as well all the employees interaction. So it means as well be able to connect with the different departments. So that's something as well that need to be studied and put into reality. All the organizational structure, the history of the business, starting from the vision until the longevity of the business. So all of that going to create the company culture. Then having a corporate, a company culture that is appealing. It need to be appealing in terms as well to recruit a pool of talent. So I guess it's based on the vision of the founder, but there is that trend as well where we can see a lot the importance of inclusion and diversity, because there is a awakening in terms of representation in a leadership position that need to be done in this era. So on that, the founder will adapt in order to be aligned with his competitor, but with as well what the employees, the external change require for him to still position himself on the market. So it's strategic, but in the same time as well, it's something that need to come from the combination of the values of what is happening into the economic world from the founder.
But I personally believe, and this is something what I recently read in, I think it was an essay, something that I actually read on LinkedIn that was shared by one of my LinkedIn connections, is that corporate culture is a myth, or let's say there is no such a thing as one culture that applies to all the different offices, departments in those organizations. So let's say Apple has, I don't know, 10,000, 20, I don't know the exact numbers, but 10,000, 20,000 employees. And they have employees in Cupertino, they have employees in Cork, they have employees everywhere in Europe. And the culture that is actually defined, that applies to all different sites all around the world. And yet you will find subcultures in each entity and in each department that actually vary from, that vary from others. And so this is because of, different, this different mentality of the people who work there, different languages that comes into play. So there cannot be one culture that can be found everywhere in a big organization, especially when these organizations are so big.
But who said that there were only one culture in the corporate?
Yeah, well, I think this is the understanding that there is such a thing as one corporate culture.
Because
that we are all one Apple. And this is I used to work for Apple, and you also worked for Apple. This is something that I can tell our audience. And I remember when we had town hall meetings where some executive said, yeah, one Apple, one
true.
I mean, this family thing, this is total crap. I think we both agree on this, because a family would never put you on a personal improvement plan, and a family will not make a new job announcement after you have just a day after you have died. And this is what I mean. So I think it's called Homo economicus, where the belief is that there's one roof organization, and everyone is adhering to one specific culture. And this may work in some ways, but yet there will be big differences between, as I said, the different entities, departments, and there's diversity, age diversity, gender diversity, race diversity, but also this kind of diversity is different from country to country, and so on and so forth. This is what I mean.
Because the goal is to create a sense of comfort for the employees, to feel safe when they go at work, and to have that sense of belonging. So, but at the end of the day, the corporate culture is to generate money. That will be the main focus. Then after, in order for employees to develop, sorry, my cat is playing. Okay, in order to develop and grow and have an opportunity for growth, because that's something as well. It's part of the company culture, that when you give to your employees the opportunity to upskill themselves, to follow training, to have certification, all of that, it's part of the growth and the learning. And I think fostering that for company is a plus, and they tend to do that, because when you retain your talent inside of the company, it's a benefit, it's a less cost. So instead of hiring new talent, wasting time to not having someone fitting the position. So I think it's way more complex than just having a random conversation like this. So it has benefits, but then I would say that they will always have to adapt to the challenge that they have to face when they are performing. And they will always have, no matter what, if the drive is towards money, that's the employees who make it happen. So employees have a big weight in the balance in order to make their voice hear and to create change on the corporate culture that wouldn't fit the reality.
Wouldn't fit. Are you familiar with the term culture fit and culture ed?
No, I don't know that one. Can you explain to me?
So in recruiting, a culture fit is someone where they're looking for someone who fits in the corporate culture.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, nice.
Culture ed is someone who might be, well, I just say it in my words, in my understanding, who is someone who could enrich the culture, the corporate culture, by being different than the rest.
Okay.
But I only came across in job interviews with culture fit where they told me, we are looking for a culture fit, someone who actually fits into our mindset, understands how we are. And in that context, I also read on LinkedIn that the opposite, or the counterpart of it, is culture ed. And I actually find the term culture ed, if this is something that people are really looking for, I think this is more of an enrichment as someone who's a culture fit. And I think this a culture fit has something that is actually excluding people from something. Yeah, when they are looking only for a specific kind of people, it means that their mindset apparently is quite is not open. It's already set, because they're looking for a culture fit, someone who's adhering to rules. And I think this is actually that sounds, if you think through this culture fit, then actually the more I think about this, the more horrible I find that idea. And maybe it comes also because I have a personal story with that. So because I once worked for a corporate, and they told me that I don't fit in their culture, and that I will not pass my probation. And so I did nothing. I did nothing wrong. I achieved my targets, and so there was nothing what could be considered as wrongdoing, and yet I was told you don't fit into that culture. And I think this is
and I think receiving that is kind of violence, especially in your professional career. You can start to question yourself, what does that mean? But I would say when they look for people who can fit as well, it means that they would like people who won't be into that dynamic of questioning or renovating process or procedure that are already in place internally. Because you can see as well with the vision of the company, when they look for people who are creative, who want to take in part to pilot project in order to optimize process, new way of CRM and this kind of thing, they are willing to have change within the company. So when you have people who need to fit, it means that, okay, they will stick to the established structure and are less inclined to change. But some position as well require to fit into the company because it's more, I would say, the position require that, so, based on the position, based on the culture, on what the company try to achieve, on the short, middle, and long term, the company culture, I think, will change. It can never be static. Because if it's static, it means you are totally lacking the point of growing a business.
But
Because
how
Mhm.
does the term culture fit? Also, how does the term culture fit
Mhm.
goes well with diversity, what corporates are at the moment love to preach or love to put it on a very, very important scale, you know? So diversity is extremely prevalent. It's that something you read everywhere about when at least if you work in corporate.
Mhm.
This is a subject that you cannot avoid, which is so prevalent in all the trainings that you have, and therefore I'm asking myself, how does the term culture fit works or aligns, that's the word that I was looking for, with diversity, because you cannot
That's a good question.
have that kind of diversity if you're only looking for culture fit. And diversity has, diversity is not only about gender diversity, ethnicity,
Mhm.
um, you know, your sexual orientation.
Mhm.
It's broader than that, And so
Yeah.
actually, I believe that culture fits exclude or is counterproductive to diversity.
Mm. Yeah, it can, but I was making some research and they said as well there is the functional fit because we all know as well that at the moment there is that trend with being inclusive because with the gender change that is happening in our modern society, the lack of representation in a leadership position, all of that oblige company to be more inclusive and not only have a white main um, structure in terms of leadership position, having women, this kind of thing, women in tech industry, in medical or in mechanical stuff, engineering. So um, having that culture fit, um, it's having people as well who have the behavior and the attitude to create those change, to speak up as well, to because having those departments allow as well to work locally, but to have the impact within the company, and then it can be reported to the headquarter and those change. Yeah, okay, now we need to face it. It's our reality. So having someone who has a personal trait that fit the company, but as well are willing to challenge for the growth of the company, it's a benefit. When they talk about functional fit, it's more in terms of the technical skills, the hard skills. So it's a focus on it's someone that
Yeah, functional fit is not the same as a cultural fit.
yeah, no, it's not the same at all. So we have that opposition where cultural fit will be more on the value, the behavior of the person that can fit to the company. And the functional fit will be more in terms of the hard skill that the person has, the education, the portfolio, the proven technical skills, and all the prior experiences. So that one as well is um, something that need to be taken in consideration. Then after, how do we evaluate the culture? That's another question before going into your question itself. What are the tools to evaluate the company culture? Once we know what are the tools and how we can measure and can see the impact, not only on data, but physically, then we can after connect the culture fit to different department or create new department that will benefit once again the companies in terms of retaining the employees, making feel safe, having that sense of belonging. So it's I know I'm a bit business wise on that one, but it's all about the full structure of maintaining the company on the long term. If your culture fit, your company culture is able to adapt to the challenge, like every technological advancement, you are responsive to your employees' request. You want to expand yourself worldwide. So if you want to expand yourself worldwide, you need to have employees that come from abroad, because you cannot extend yourself by staying with the local people, because the way you approach the market in France, in Europe, or in America is not the same. So you need to have people who understand always that market, that culture. So it helps as well the benefit. And having those people as well who will challenge and the vision, create new opportunities as well, new department, new section where we can be inclusive, because what they will tell you, there is always an area for improvement. They don't get, nobody gets right at the first time. So this is why you evolve as a business. So this is why you have a history with your business, you know.
But for example, someone who is a functional fit does not necessarily need to be a cultural fit.
I would say that would be one of my approach, but then
because
based on my
especially like in fields that are very techy, very nerdy, who might find, not necessarily, it's also just an assumption, also people who tend to be more neurodivergent, like people who are not into all these socializing, or have some, or act in a different way that is not always socially accepted, and that can cause also a bit irritation. And yet these people also neurodivergence and are very, very valuable assets for a company, but it may be that they do not fit in the mainstream corporate culture. You know what I want to say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I agree with that, and that's something that need to be taken in consideration. You will not disapprove someone who is more functional fit, and he can perform, but doesn't have the full culture fit, because he still need to have it. So this is why they extend it in terms of culture. It's not only like I said, it's having the attitude, the personality, the values. So it's different trait of your personality, of your character. And having as well those heterogeneity, the opposite of homogeneous. It's gonna be easier. Because it's great to have people who share value like you, but if your employees are too much alike, then it can be harmful for the organization.
And
Again,
back to my question, I believe that the cultural fit is excluding people from being part of that company, because everyone is different, and especially people who have social anxieties, or people who are a bit autistic, or or in various different spectrums. They have different challenges, and it's I believe very important to integrate them into a company and make them a valuable asset. But this is also very challenging for a capitalistic, if you only have a very capitalistic approach, and if you have very if you have set rules, like not everyone is capable. Not some people who are neurodivergent are simply not capable of starting their day at 8:30 and working 6 to 7, 8 hours a day. They work and act and think in a very different way. And I think corporates need to be far more flexible for that. And we're just in the beginning of learning how to integrate that.
Yeah, because the way we go to work is not the same than our parents use. So we need to give as well the chance for corporate to adapt into this new world, because it's not even for the cultural fit, the fact that we work remotely. How can you assess and integrate cultural fit when people are working remotely? You have colleagues that you will never see that stay home behind a computer. So how do you integrate that as well? It's a new challenge for the company.
Yeah. And when it comes to new challenges and new realities, do you think that this is something that needs to be changed from top down, or is it necessary to make changes bottom up? So let's say, I give you one example. In Germany, we had until the 50s, so 48 hours week. And that was changed because of strong unions. And it was told the society, the economy, the people in power, the employees said, no, we cannot do this. This will be very harmful for the economy if we reduce the working hours to 40 hours, from 48 hours to 40. What actually happened was that we had an economic growth because people had more time
to rest,
to consume. Yes, also to relax and to consume. But these changes happened bottom up and not top down. And so
but
do you
believe
it's necessary to have work councils and strong unions to make those changes, or do you think this is a law of nature that will come anyways, and at some point corporates have to adapt to the realities?
But that's what I said, the employees doesn't have to forget that they have the voice, that they have structure, that they have rights. Because no matter what, the person who has the vision have billions of money to manage. So he doesn't have the reality. And thanks to the bottom structure, which are the employees and the trade union or this kind of thing that I implement, allow as well the founder of any business to have a reality check. And thanks to them, it helped to change as well the law in terms of work condition. So any change need to come from those people who are doing the job, because they are the one who see on daily basis what work, what doesn't work, or we can optimize it. But you need to have someone who is receptive to those change. And sometimes it can come as well from the top, and the employees may not understand the vision, but they will see it in the next 2-3 years, and at the end it was right to do that change. So I think it can come from both sides, but it's case by case.
Okay. But do you think if we look back, like 100 years back, 200 years, that the most significant changes that have they actually come from the top, or have they actually come from the bottom.
Right.
Like
Historically, it came from the bottom, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So so therefore, I believe, or maybe you can contradict me, is that we need to have more employee power to make those changes happen. And but this is a struggle that that goes on, and also in Germany there are many strikes at the moment, and they are facing a lot of criticism.
Mm-hmm.
So the narrative by the Bild tabloid, the most powerful newspaper in Germany, and the
Mm-hmm.
most powerful newspaper in Europe, is the narrative they said is that this is too much. We cannot we are not a nation of strike of we cannot compensate those strikes. It's harmful for the economy, and we should find another way. And I personally believe that this is wrong, and I think especially when a corporate is creating a huge profit,
Mm-hmm.
and the employees are facing high inflation rates, so they actually effectively had less in their pocket over the years because of the high inflation, because the salary did not grow according to the inflation, and
Mm-hmm.
yet the profit of the company has not doubled, but is significantly higher. And then I think there's something going wrong on the higher level, and this needs to be corrected
Mm-hmm.
from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you need to happen, you know, if it's impacting the full structure, and yeah, the change need to come from the bottom to create awareness. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say that. Because yeah, we have seen for many years, and still it's happening now, that some founder doesn't care at all what the employees um, want, or
Yeah.
and it's all about profit. But once again, focusing on profit, it's a good aspect, but every business want to stay for the long term. So in order to stay on the long term, we go back to the employees. We Amazon is well known for the customer service experience. So now the shift is happening as well, where the customer experience, I would say, towards employer and employees need to happen as well. You need to feel that in terms of your commission, if you are in a position where it requires commission, in terms of shift, in terms of managing your life, balancing your work life and your personal life, in terms of holidays as well, where you can have holidays when you have a family member who are sick, where you can look after, for adoption, for when you give birth. So all of that are progress of people who have been fighting before us, so we can benefit that. But
Yeah.
compared to the real reality, it's still not enough. We can see a huge improvement in terms of that paternity leave, which was
Mhm.
before non-existent, you know.
Yeah.
So all those conditions, because with all of that, you know, we goes to the main things, the mental health, because
Mm.
it creates pressure on the employees to not having those things that should be normalized in order to benefit the profit. There is no point to have employees who is sick constantly, who is not good in his head, because the condition for him to thrive are not there.
Mhm. But mm, what I now think about this is like when we talk about mental health, that this is more of something that we see in the Western world. So probably I don't have any numbers from China, but when you look at China, you see that the people work there extremely hard, much harder than us. In terms of working hours, in terms of employee rights and so on and so forth. And yet, this is just my personal view. You do not see mental health as a
priority for
topic that is being discussed there.
But definitely, Asia doesn't have the same history than Europe, economically, politically as well. And the fact that, well, in terms of camera and everything, people are, from my own impression, I never live in Asia, on the continent over there, so I don't know. This is my cat, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I cannot speak for people,
Yeah.
But you can see that in terms of human rights in the work-life structure, I would say they are less fortunate than us, because there is that sense of as well of patriotism that is way much important in Asia than in Europe. So people for the nation, they will do everything, and even you can see in terms of sports, or the Olympic or professional athletes who give their devotion because they cannot fail for the country. We don't have that sense anymore of pride, I would say, in terms of patriotism in Europe. So there are people who, in terms of culture as well, wouldn't complain in front of you. They have the pressure as well of no, it's not there anymore in Asia, but it has been banished, abdicated. But before the politic of the only child. So when you are only child, all the pressure of looking after your parents, make sure that you have a job and you have a lot of responsibility in terms of family structure, in terms of identity as an individual, as a citizen, and what you have to represent for your nation. The fact as well there are camera everywhere when they are not behaving.
And they have like a social system, like a
the social system is
social score system,
yeah,
something like that,
we don't have that in Europe. So if you're complaining about your boss, you can lose a point, and then you have less access to certain things.
If you cross a red traffic light, then
yeah. So all of that, we don't have that. Luckily, I can say that.
Yeah.
And all of that as well will impact the way you want to position and make your right heard. If already your basic right cannot be heard or discussed, for sure we wouldn't have a stat where people gonna go on in town and create a strike, It's not the same dynamic because they know they have all that pressure that we don't have in terms of public speaking.
So in the end, don't you think that the corporates would go there, or would move their business to a place where they have, where they do not have these basic human rights and employee rights, and where they don't need to speak about diversity because they can make a higher profit? Or do you think that the companies make this such a high priority that they will not not question that, so that they will continue going this route, or will they always go after the profit and where they see?
I would say it's middle. I wouldn't position for one more than the other one, because you can see when employees work at the headquarters, they are the ones who are benefiting about inclusion, diversity, corporate culture, blah, 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 all this kind of fancy stuff. But when we know that, and we are well aware, and it always has been going on, the cheap labor, implement your customer support department abroad, so it's cheaper for you as a cost. All the company will keep doing that. We can see as well when departments are closed in Europe, and then they open a new center in Bangalore, in India, or in Morocco. So it's still happening. But the fact that people have that awareness and consciousness in terms of knowing every intervenant at every step of the process or structure, oblige company to review their strategy. Because, for example, let's take H&M. People want to, the consumer is seeking more information in terms of knowing the source of the origin of the material and this kind of thing. If it's done in a healthy condition where employees, I pay the minimum rate in the that they should receive in their country. So it obliges the company to restructure their vision and to adapt based on the consumer need, because we want to know if everyone is paid equally at every transaction of the distribution process.
Okay. Yeah. I have a final last question. You have now worked for 10 years in corporates in Ireland, as far as I'm aware. What would you say what has been the most significant change from 2014 to 2024, since you have been, I mean, in these 10 years?
I would say, I started my first experience in a call center,
Yeah.
So I can see the dynamic of call center, where it's really, there is a lot of turnover. So some of employees' rights is not something that they really care. So when you have a proper established, when you are not, when you are in the headquarters of the company, when you're not anymore working for outsourcing, your conditions are way much better. And it was a quality improvement for me, working for outsourcing and then working for the company itself. I could see my right as an employee in terms of training, in terms of investment that they have for the employees for upskilling them internally. It was like a boom. It was the day and night. So yeah, it helped me as well. Having those that helped me to build up my resilience, because when you decided to live abroad, you need to start somewhere. But if you stay aligned with where you want to go, you will attract the company, and you have to remind yourself that you are the one that they need. When I shift my mindset into that, I was more confident as well to apply for companies that are aligned with what I believe, and I don't hesitate to speak up or to create change within the company. Yeah, that's what I observe from on my side, even if it's not always easy. But yeah, those changes need to operate, because it's for the good of all of us. The economy, the institution, the well-being of the individual, working towards a common goal.
Well, I mean, it sounds more like that you have evolved in that time, that you have started in a call center, and that you have then made progression and worked in a different field. But would you say that the dynamic is still the same in those call centers and those like what was it called, like these providers, these
Outsourcing?
outsourcing companies?
Yeah.
Would you say that the dynamic is still the same, or is it hard to see this from the outside?
I cannot speak on that because I'm not working anymore for outsourcing companies, so I cannot
Yeah.
speak on how they have been involved for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But when I hear my friend who still work in those companies, yeah, what I was going through when I started to work and what they are going through, there is a bit of improvement, but the level of improvement is still less, is still not sufficient for the reality.
Yeah, I think I agree to that. And when I look back, I also started working at Apple in a call center. And in 2015, Apple still had an incident system. So, which means that people who called sick got an incident. And if you had 4 incidents, you had an investigatory meeting, which could lead into disciplinary action. And this disciplinary action could lead into a dismissal as well. And so this incident system applied to all sick leaves, regardless of what sick leave you had. Even if you were pregnant and you called sick for a day, you got this incident. Or even if this was an act of nature, yes, if it was an act of nature, let's say that was Cork was flooded and you couldn't go to work, and yet you received this incident. And I know that this incident system luckily doesn't exist anymore, but until 2015 or 16 at least, Apple had this incident system. And I think this should not be forgotten, that they had this until very recently. And I think this is that reminded me very much. It reminded me very much of the dark age.
Yeah, it was the same for me when I used to work in the outsourcing company. When the bus in Ireland were not passing, it was not one individual. It was like 30, 60 people, 100 people were blamed for that, although that was not depending on us. But so since then, bus siren has improved because it was impacting on different corporates, not having the employees coming on time. But for me, when the bus was arriving late, we got penalized on our wage at the end of the month because we have to log in. And if we were logging on time, we were losing money. So it's kind of really stressful, when you start your day, and it's like it was not my mindset because, at some point I was like, why am I doing here? I don't fit anymore. Because having the stress of arriving late, having money straight away withdraw when it's not depending on you, but it's the country itself is not operating as they should. No, that's not nice, and that's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that at least there are some slight improvements, but there's still a lot of it's still a big way to go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, thanks very much again for your time. I really liked it. I really like listening to you, and hopefully we can do this soon again. And for now, I just wish you a good evening, and Yeah, and we stay in touch. Yeah.
It was a pleasure as well for me to have that discussion. Always, you make me think as well outside of the box, and I like it. And ready for the next one.
Yeah, okay, great. All right. So yeah, have a good night, Junia.